Hello, everyone. I am Dan Stapleton. I am here with Justin Davis, the
Hello.
reviewer of Deus Ex: The Fall.
That's right. This is Deus Ex: The Fall. This is out today on, well, maybe not today, depending on when you're watching this. Deus Ex: The Fall is live on the App Store. It's coming to Android soon. We're playing on an iPad 4, but it's on, older devices and iPhones as well.
And Justin, you like this game quite a bit. You gave it an 8.2.
I did give it an 8.2, and you actually just saw one of the things I like about it, which is, so obviously they had to make some sacrifices to get this running on mobile devices, but I feel like the sacrifices they made, they did in a smart way. So, for example, you still have a move heavy objects augment, but instead of it being physics, which are, very hard to pull off on a, less powerful tablet, they don't actually use physics to move. Like, you just tap the button and the object moves. And they make other, little smart sacrifices like that to let the game still look very, very pretty, be impressive. You can search trash cans, take the beer in the trash can, things like that. The world still has a high level of fidelity, even though you're playing on a tablet, even though you're playing, you're not playing on a next-gen or current-gen console.
Right, and that kind of, like, actual picking stuff up and manipulating it wouldn't work very well on a touchscreen anyway, so it feels like a pretty smart decision.
And so I feel like exactly. They did a smart combination of, like, here's where we're going to put our energy and attention, here's how we're going to make the world believable and things of that nature, and here's where we're not going to spend our time.
And it actually looks, pretty good. I think it looks better than the original Deus Ex.
Yeah, certainly. I'm very impressed with this game visually, again, sort of with the caveat that, it is running on. It runs all the way down to a iPad 3, and they're adding iPad 2 support, but it's not in there right now today.
So you say this is a direct sequel to a novel.
Yes, so the story here is you play as Ben Saxon, where you're another, augmented individual. You're a former mercenary, and you're trying to investigate, you're trying to figure out why there's a neuropozyne shortage. Neuropozyne is the drug that augments need, and if they don't get it, I think it eventually kills them. People start taking this other drug instead, and then it turns out that's not dangerous. Where's that other one coming from? Why is it on the streets? It's actually a pretty sophisticated, pretty, deep story. Again, with the caveat that it's deep for a mobile game. It's sort of full of tropes. It's sort of the usual. Oh god.
The hacking game looks pretty similar to the original Human Revolution one.
The hacking is identical.
Mm-hmm.
It's identical functionally. It works the same way. And so you'll see what I just did was this is actually a completely optional area. There's nothing in here. You don't need to come in here for the story. There's just a little bit of loot inside that I just picked up. So that's one thing that I like about this. Just like the console game, just like Human Revolution, it does reward players that explore off the beaten path.
And it's not a full open world, but it's hub based. And I guess this one just has one hub, correct?
Yeah. So we're in the Panama City hub right now. And you branch off and you go into dungeons, and there's different places to spin off from within that hub. We can go into this nightclub and. At this point in the game, there is, 37 meters ahead is my sort of plot objective, but the world's open. Like, you can go explore what you want to explore if we wanted to. Oh, we're getting a little bit of story here. So you see it's fully voice acted.
It's okay, it's just a dizzy spell. I'm fine.
For the most part, I find the voice acting to be pretty good. There's some, accents that are a little bit iffy, I guess, and we'll see if we can find, somebody in the slums that maybe has a little bit of a questionable voice acting. But for the most part, it's strong. Presentation is strong, I think.
And I think the biggest objection you raised to it, and the thing that kept this from really blowing the lid off your score, was that the combat is not up to your expectations.
Yeah, I mean, this wasn't a huge problem for me because I play Deus Ex stealthy anyway, and I think most gamers do. It was always nice to have the option to go in guns blazing, but I think for the most part, most players probably opted to, hack turrets or sneak around people who play that way. In fact, there's an achievement for not killing anyone. But if you did want to go in guns blazing, this is not going to be the game for you. It's pretty awkward. Let's see if I can get in a fight.
You ain't welcome here.
All right, I'm not welcome here. Oh.
This is what I do to people who don't welcome me.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll take his pistol. Let's equip the pistol, and then we'll see what's what here. Actually, let's equip the combat rifle. How about that?
You're hard on a Walmart greeter, aren't you?
He's like the Walmart greeter of drug dealers. So, okay, so now I've aggroed these guys, and first of all, I can instantly just run away. Like, they're not, I'm you know, they're never going to kill me from over here. They're not going to follow me. They don't really ever leave their space.
So you can just walk away, and they're going to be cool.
Yep, I'm just going to walk away, and oh, no, this guy is following me. But for the most part, they're not very aggressive. You know, I never had any experience, especially in dungeons. You can usually just kind of run one room away, and then, you know, they'll leave you alone. Like, I think I just lost these guys just by, or I pretty much lost these guys just by doing this. It's a little bit awkward. You can double tap on pieces of cover to, like, move into cover. Let's see if I can take cover over here, maybe. Oh, I did die. It's just, we'll do a little bit better illustration of this in a moment once we load. But just generally speaking, I don't have any problem with the touch controls. There's a couple different control methods, and they both work well. But in combat, they're both just a little bit too slow, a little bit too cumbersome. So I'm moving my left thumb to move and my right thumb to look, you know, sort of dual analog controls. But you can also just tap to move. And you can tap, like if I tap here, then I can take cover on that wall. And then when I'm within cover, let's take cover on the phone booth, then you can aim. And so, like, there's nothing, like, sort of offensive about that or, oh, that's such a terrible control scheme. But it's just, it's the one time that I really miss having a controller. Like, if I tap this guy, I can, oh, I wanted to equip the...
Yeah, it's a little imprecise, isn't it?
Yeah, well, part of that's my weapon as well. But just generally speaking, you know, I don't know. And now when I need to get away, like, I sometimes get stuck to cover and it's hard to get away. We're not experiencing any of the AI bugs that I've seen, but I've seen AI just stand there and let me shoot them. Like, look at these guys.
There we go, yeah.
Like, they're just not moving. Like, he's just hanging out.
I guess maybe they still think you're over there.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they
okay.
do. But, I don't know. It's just the one area where when I'm playing this, I'm like, wow, this feels a lot like Human Revolution. This is really impressive. And the combat is the one area where I feel like it's a little bit deficient. You do still have takedowns. Let's see if I can take somebody down without... Wah! So it's the same sort of scripted takedown animations. You still have the same... Once we load here, I'll show some of your upgrades.
Mm-hmm. Hey, and part of the whole idea is you're a cyborg. You can get better strength, better speed, better stealth.
Yep, that's exactly right. The augments are very, very similar to how they are in Human Revolution. The whole game is obviously very highly inspired by Human Revolution. This isn't like a different take on Deus Ex. You know, the upgrades are largely the same. I upgraded my hacking because that's something that's important to me. You know, you can punch through walls. You can unlock, you know, cloak that lasts for, you know, different amounts of time. You can upgrade your batteries. In this game, you can upgrade more than one of your energy bars.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big complaint people had about Human Revolution. And it made sense from a gameplay balance perspective, but it did frustrate people. Man, I think it's just impressive how dense this world is. Like all the billboards and everything that you can see sort of... You don't often see like sort of transparency effects on mobile like you do on this stop sign. And, you know, if graphics are going to continue to improve, so, you know, no one should be too wowed by this. But I do think it's worth pointing out that, you know, the level of graphical fidelity is uncommon on mobile. You know?
I can't recall having seen a better looking you know, open world game like this on a mobile game, or a mobile platform.
And the reason that's notable is not just because graphics, because again, you know, there's going to be lots of mobile games that have graphics like this, but it does aid in the sort of fidelity of the world. You know, you can talk to these NPCs and everything they have to say is voiced. You know, that adds more background to the world. It sort of makes the story more intriguing. If you're willing to dive deeper, you can read the ebooks and uncover more of the story.
It makes it feel like an actual place.
Exactly. And, you know, so there's things like these news reports going on in the background that are going to tell you more about the world.
And how long did it take you to play through the entire story?
It took me about 5 hours, and I would say, you know, that wasn't rushing or going slow. You know, I didn't get the achievement for doing all the side quests, for example, but I did all the ones I came across, and, you know, I hacked into this guy's back office to sort of see what was what. Like the console game... Oh, he's sleeping with his little augmented arm. Like the console game, there's usually more than one way to do anything. Like if you're not a hacker or don't want to play the hacking minigame, there's usually another way to get in somewhere. You know, it's non-linear in that way.
Convenient man-sized vents.
Yeah, exactly. Convenient man-sized vents. I upgraded my to unlock sort of the psychological profile of people. You know, that tells you how you should deal with them in order to get what you want. So this guy's going to tell us about the alternative to neuropozyne, and everything starts off all fine. Oh, there's this drug we can take instead, but then it turns out that drug is killing people. And I enjoyed the story, even though it doesn't really break new ground. You know, it's the same. There's some shadowy organization secretly pulling the strings. You know, there's nothing here we haven't seen before, but it's well executed. The twists and turns, you know, had some things that I didn't necessarily see coming. I don't want to get into spoiler territory, so, you know, I don't really want to say too much more than that.
The new drug is actually a Pez dispenser.
Exactly. You know, and then they're giving us the option of, like, you know, you do have some options about how you want to tackle things. Yeah, I was impressed with this game from top to bottom. You know, the biggest praise that I can sort of lay on it is that, you know, even though it has awkward combat, once I started playing, I didn't really want to stop playing. I wanted to just keep going all the way through to the end.
So not a good shooter, but a great stealth game and a great story, or a good story at least.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, you know, the story is definitely worth experiencing. You can see some of the character models are not super great. Maybe she's supposed to look like that.
I hope not. That's an augmentation.
Yeah, she's got the alien face augmentation.
She's like a cat person or something.
So then she just gave us like a totally, you know, optional side quest, and so, you know, I like that the game is wide open in that way. Yeah, I would say if you are looking for a combat game, you know, there's better shooters on the App Store, but I don't know that I've experienced, you know, worlds that have this level of fidelity and detail, you know, stories that are this detailed, you know, or you just have sort of the freedom and options in a mobile game. You know, that's something that's really uncommon or almost unheard of.
Yeah, and since we don't have another Deus Ex game announced coming out yet anytime soon, this is probably a good way to get a fix.
Yep.
All right, then. Well, for myself and Justin Davis, thank you for tuning in to our Deus Ex review commentary. And for all the info on Deus Ex The Fall, be sure to check out IGN.
Okay, this is what I'm going to close on. Bah!
You made him bleed with your hand.